Though President Trump has tried to temper expectations ahead of his one-on-one sit-down with Russian President Vladimir Putin, many hope progress can be made on a number of key issues. Here to break down these points of tension is international policy expert Michael Szanto and national security attorney Christopher Swift. Welcome to you both. Let's get over to Michael for a second, because I really want to talk about this idea of what's going on in Syria. And it seems that the administration, Trump in particular, wants help from Russia in Syria in getting Iran out. Is that possible? What kind of role could Russia play, and what's realistic here?
Well, that's actually realistic, that the Russians do seem to be helping limiting the role in Iran, because Iran and Russia are only really allies of convenience here. The Russians, I think, are exploiting the Iranians to further their goal. But the reason that we have to be very, very careful is I think that Russia's primary agenda is to weaken American power globally, and Syria is just one of their fronts. So their primary mission is to mess with the United States. They don't want to get involved in an Iranian-Israeli war, and that's why they're kind of limiting Iran, because their agenda is against the United States and is more global in nature, and they don't want to get diverted by Iran. But we have to...
All right. Well, Chris, pardon me for breaking in there, but there are a couple other issues we really need to get to here. And one of them is the annexation of Crimea, which, oh, by the way, none of Europe talks to Russia right now because of this. Relations, even with our country, are at a post-Cold War low. What can happen on this topic? I know the Russian president is eager to have Trump sign on to whatever policy he wants to use when it comes to Crimea. What do you see happening today?
Well, like with the elections, it's absolutely essential that President Trump take and maintain a hard line on Crimea. Vladimir Putin is the first head of state in the 21st century to invade another country and annex its territory. The last time that happened, it was Saddam Hussein who did it in Kuwait. The international community doesn't allow that. It's against the rules and norms of international law. So look, there's probably not much that President Trump can accomplish on that front, aside from to be consistent with past U.S. policy on this and to back up our allies in Europe.
Michael, I want to get you to the New START treaty. This is critically important and something that actually could happen. I mean, expectations have been driven low by the administration on these talks. But, you know, this deal, which is really important, really for the safety of the planet, it expires in just 3 short years. Could this be renewed at this meeting?
It might, but many experts feel that the Russians got the upper hand in the New START deal, and it only applies to strategic nukes. The problem is with tactical battlefield nukes, the Russians have an enormous advantage. They have at least 4 times as many as us. And the other problem here is Putin is violating the INF Treaty, which is the most important treaty that President Reagan was able to achieve with Gorbachev. So Putin is not a good faith negotiator. Nuclear war strategy is very complex, and President Trump is new to this game. And we have a real Cold War going on with Russia. If we look at what's going on in eastern Ukraine and Syria.
Well, that's well put. A new Cold War. I think you make a very important point there. And the big question, of course, for both actors here, can we trust Putin to make good on whatever he promises today? Michael and Christopher, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.